So first, I'll go straight there. My niece is just discovering movies now. She's 4, and the thought that any movie that she sees at this point could be the one that she looks back on and think to herself, like, that is the first time I understood the power of movie magic. Just, it fills my heart.
Yeah.
So what is that movie for you? The first movie you can remember just like fully enveloping you and transporting you into a world that like maybe isn't real, but made you believe?
Spirit with the horse. I think, is Spirit DreamWorks?
I think it might be.
The original? I know that the new Spirit was DreamWorks, but Spirit was the first movie that I ever saw, period, in a theater. I think I was like, I was really young. I was six maybe, or maybe, yeah, maybe even like 5 or 4. And I just like remember, I think seeing it in the theater and like, I didn't even know like a screen could be that big, you know, like when you're a kid. And it was so like integral to like who I am, like just like how freeing that movie was like amazing. I'm excited for you. You said
so
niece?
Pumped. Yes, a niece.
Oh yeah, that's
4.
good. That's a fun time.
She just sat through all of The Little Mermaid and it made me so happy, and it signaled that like now's the time. It begins, and that's what the aunt is here for.
Yes, very good. I love that.
So I want to talk a little bit about your voice acting experience because you have had some before. So can you give me maybe a shared quality between all of the voice acting gigs you've had that you have appreciated, but then on top of that, I also want something unique to DreamWorks that made this process stand out?
What was unique to DreamWorks and made this project stand out was time. I had a lot of time to record this. So I recorded over the course of like 3 years versus the other animation that I've done before. Like it's pretty short, like I'm in and out and we're done. But this was over 3 years. And what I really, really learned was like the importance of like warming up your voice and protecting your voice. Because when you're in a booth for like 4, 5, 6 hours, talking, screaming at like Ruby Gillman, there's a lot of like, you really want to like really warm up your voice, protect your voice, like conserve it when you don't have to speak. Because there were a couple of days where like if I didn't do that, I'd get into the booth, I'd be like, oh no, like I can hear it, you know? So yeah, but I think it's always been like making sure I warm up and stuff like that. But.
Oh, I have so many follow-up questions right now. First, because you mentioned it was a 3-year process for you. Yeah. Like how was the work spread out over those 3 years? Were you revisiting scenes as they were retooling things in the 100%. Animation realm?
Yes, we were constantly going back. Like we were never doing it in order. Like we were always basically recording to like what production needed, like what all the artists were doing this scene, so they really needed my voice in it. And then they would rework it. So I would do the scenes over and over again, like over months and whatnot. And the process was really cool because I loved being able to revisit a scene too, because you're like, oh, like, I can make it better, or I can, you know, whatnot. But yeah, animation is a whole other world than live action.
Magicians. It like fascinates me how all these artists come together and spend years working on this thing, totally. And everyone's work comes together seamlessly.
I know, it's wild. I went to the crew screening of Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, and there was like hundreds of crew members, like from all the different art departments and lighting and everything, and you're just like, this is really amazing. Like just how many people it takes to make something like so wonderful, and it's so cohesive.
If you could learn more about one person on the production's job in any department you want, which would you pick and why? I
don't know what the name of this is, but I was just actually watching a interview of, I don't know what his title was on our film, but they animate the clothes. And he was saying that the clothes are all like knit because the Gillmans like reach their arms and their legs a lot, and they're super, super bendy. So the clothes reach with them. It's not like how, like, if I'm going like this, the clothes are like this. Like, the clothes also move. And I think that I would love to know more about, like, how did you do that? Like, how did you make that so
The
real?
level of detail is absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Back to your voice performance. This question could get weird, but I have a question about efforts.
Yo.
I want to know which type of effort comes to you most naturally, where it's the easiest thing for you to replicate. But then I also want the one that is the hardest, the thing that we do in everyday life, but is just so difficult to replicate in your sessions.
An amazing question. Thank you. The easiest for me is like, is the effort of becoming overwhelmed. And I think that's just because like me as like a human, like I get overwhelmed a lot. And so it's like kind of second nature. But that effort of like all of that like it comes naturally to me. And the hardest effort for me would be, we didn't really do this effort in Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, but I have done voiceover before, and the hardest is making out. Because what you don't realize is you make out with your hand. It's so gross. And so you're like, here's the, the mic is there and there's your hand and you have to like extra like make your, like, ew, it's so gross and you're making out with your hand and everyone's watching you in the booth and you're like, what is my job?
I promised you this question would get weird
Yeah,
eventually.
that's the hardest effort to do, mainly because I'm just so uncomfortable.
In the worst transition ever, I'll end on a more wholesome note. So this movie is all about, Ruby finding her voice, finding her power. I want to turn that towards you as an actor. Do you remember the first project you were on that, showed you the power of your own voice? That acting wasn't just about reading the lines on the page, but if you had an idea, you could speak up about it, people would listen, and it could change a project for the better.
That's a great question. I think that's always like the goal, at least for me as an entertainer, to like get to that place. Because I think we like early on in my career, I never felt like really empowered to like make a suggestion or like maybe I was definitely still trying to find my voice. I think now, I don't know if it's necessarily a specific, I just finished a project actually. We shot half of it in Malaysia. And I felt very empowered on that film. It's rom-com-esque and I love rom-coms. I've done a lot of them. And so I felt that the production was like asking me advice into how to make a successful rom-com, and that actually like I was flattered. I was like, thank you so much for asking me that. And I felt very empowered on that set, but I felt very empowered on this set, and I'm at a point now in my career and in my life where I feel like I know my worth and I know my boundaries, and like I'm happy to say what's on my mind.
As you should. And I'm glad productions are recognizing that. Huge congratulations on Ruby Gillman.
Thank you so much.
Delightful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I hope your niece likes it.